Right, folks, here we are, -1, Money Rider minus Mark. Unfortunately, Mark's a bit busy tonight. Couldn't get round the old computer screen with us. Obviously, we've got the Guineas coming up, lads. So we thought we'd try and get a Guineas video together, folks. As we said off air, you know, they're all young runners, they're all new, so there's not much we can backstory we can go on too much. But obviously, we'll start with the 2,000 Guineas in, lads, because that's the first one of the two. Aiden's obviously got the favourite, no surprise, with City of Troy. You know, Aiden, the Willie Mullins of the flat world sort of thing, you know.
So
Which is true, isn't it, really, at the end of the day, he's really. Obviously, Troy's unbeaten at the moment, 3 from 3. 2 of them at Newmarket, so that obviously leads into why the bookies are made favourite. He's obviously got other runners in there. I've got Henry Longfellow, River Tiber, Diego Valquez or Valles, bigger prices. You assume Ryan Moore will be on City of Troy again. But we can tell, obviously, you know, they don't always, you know, favourites don't always take these prizes, being so early in, you know, in the season, lads. So I'll let you start then, Jamie. If you got, you know, you're always known for liking your bigger prices and that. So has anyone sort of particular caught your eye then? You thought, you know, it's worth a punt?
Well, unfortunately, I like 2 horses that I looked in the field. But the main one that I will be looking at, and I think I really do like the colt, and that's Roscollin, trained by Richard Hannon. Now, he's won the Guineas before with Night of Thunder, where it won by 50-1, where it just came out of the blue in one particular year. You know, this colt is done very, very well. It's won the Lagardin in France in the Group 1 on good ground. But he's won very impressive, winning by 4 lengths in a listed race in the Pat Edery Stakes, beating Al Muska at Ascot. He's got plenty of scope, a lot of ability. I've been looking at Richard Hannon's blog and YouTube because he does like a stable visit and that, and he's very bullish about Roscollin because he's saying that he's right up there amongst the colts that he's had before in his hands, like Paco Boy.
I don't mean to correct you, but is it Rosa Leon or Rosa Lion?
Oh, Rosa Leon or a lot of people call it Roscollin or Rosa Lion.
Oh, okay, all right. The pronunciation just got me a bit because I was thinking.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Sorry, mate. Go on, carry on though.
That's all right. And you know, Richard Adams had plenty of good horses in his hands. You know, like even with fillies in the Guineas, like Sky Lantern. Also, you know, he's had winners with Paco Boy, Tormore, the late Tormore, winning in Sussex Stakes and that. So that's the one I've been looking at, and he's second in the market on the betting wise. You know, I mean, with City of Troy. Now, you know, he's only had 3 runs. I mean, Roscollin most probably has run 3 runs, but, you know, I just think something might happen. You just don't know because, all right, I'm not looking at betting. I'm just looking at something outside the box. The other one that I'm looking at, which was a good each way option, is Ghostwriter, which is trained by Clive Cox. Now he's in the famous Jeff Smith's stilks, likes of Persian Punch and Lock Song. He's a Ghostwriter is at the is the sire out of Invisible Spirit colt, and Ghostwriter has got a really good form with Newmarket. Always look at good form on course form. He's won twice at Newmarket. On one on good for the firm, so he's won on his maiden in a 7 furlong race, but then again on good ground at Newmarket in the Lodge Stakes Group 2, he won by 3.5 lengths on the Rolling Mile at Newmarket and beat once again. Who did he beat? He beat Al. I think it's called Al Muskie again. So he's always coming up. Richard Adams got another horse called Hatan. That won well in the Craving meeting, but the Craving winners haven't got a very good record. But like I say, Richard Allen always pulls something out of the hat. There might be something else at the pull of a hat with a big price. You just don't know. Normally that does happen on the fillies on the Sunday, but on the Saturday you normally see, like, you know, just normal, you know, good horses in the top three of the betting.
Yeah, well, as I say, I mean, if you look back at some of the records, you'll see Chalden last year 7-2. Second was High Royale at 125 to 1. Third was Royal Scotsman at 11 to 1. And then we also had Galeron at 150 to 1. The year before that, Coroebus beat the fancied native trail. Kamiko in 2021. So, yeah, you know, I mean, you can go back through the books. If you just look on the Racing Post or whatever, for argument's sake, website, you can see that, a lot of the time that the favourites don't always, you know, sort of, or let's put it, maybe not quite up to speed at that moment, you know.
No. I don't think it'd be a big field. I reckon there'd be a reasonable field, but it won't be like a big field like they normally have, like, you know, 16, 18 runners. So it could be a condensed. It could be a condensed still because of City of Troy. But that's the one that I'm selecting is Roscollin with Richard Hannon, and the one to look out for is Ghostwriter.
Yeah, well, I've got to be honest, mate, you sort of stole me thunder there, because I've actually gone for a Richard Allen each way double across both the races. And my selection in this race is that Ross Colony or Rosa Leon or however it's pronounced. Pretty much for the same reasons you just said there, Jay. There's been a fair bit of talk around social media and stuff like that, as you say, and in the media, that they are really quite sweet on this horse. And I was watching a interview with Sean Levy, and he was saying that he really felt that the speed could be the key to undo City of Troy. And they were asking him, you know, sort of all about you know, other stable runners and stuff like that. And you know, the fact that kind of swung it a bit was that, you know, to hear him say, well, yeah, but he's a better horse. So, you know, they obviously were talking about other horses that were sort of held in, you know, reasonable esteem. And Levy was, you know, quick to say, yeah, but this horse is better. So why wouldn't we go to war with him, sort of thing. So, yeah, my main sort of selection in that is that horse, as you say, the same horse. But then I did have a quick look. I say I don't confess to be a flat expert, as many people know. But I also was looking at Night Raider at 16s to Karl Burke. Yeah, it's Karl Burke, isn't it? It's Karl.
Yeah, Karl Burke. Yeah.
Who's got the favourite in the 1,000 guineas? Side by Dark Angel. You know, who's side a few decent ones, as we know. It's 2 for 2. It's on the all-weather, so turf's a bit of an unknown, obviously. But he's won well both times, won well by 5 lengths and 9 lengths. So you can see why they're having a go, basically. There's no reason why they shouldn't. And I think it's sort of, like I say, a bigger price or a nicer price at 16s. I'll probably have a couple of quid on Night Raider as well. Yeah. As I say, 2 for me, Rosa Lion or Ross Colleen or however you pronounce it. It's my sort of main type selection. And then, you know, as a second selection, I'd offer up Night Raider to maybe, you know, continue to show some improvement and show that, you know, can transfer the form from the all-weather to the turf. So what about you then, Sean?
I, like you, have gone for the Hannon double across the two. I've alluded to, I've been looking at, or been drawn to the Godolphin double.
Oh, right, yeah.
And in this one, I've got notable speech. Now, just off what you were saying off the back of, was it Night Rider and the all-weather? Exactly the same with notable speech. 3 out of 3 wins, but all of them have been at Kempton on the all-weather. So again, exactly like you were alluding to, Glenn, it's that, can they transfer that to the turf?
Yeah.
Jamie, you can atone for the Newmarket course being a tough one at the best of times, especially for a horse that's got to go from weather to turf. But if watching notable speech, and again, I've only just, like you, Glenn, the last couple of days maybe be flirting with the idea of looking at the Guineas getting into the flat sort of season, so to speak. Watching what I watched, never really seemed to struggle with the victories that he's had. But speed could be an issue, if that makes sense.
Right. Okay.
So if it turns into a slog, I think Noble Speech is the one that can grind it out. If it turns into, you know, nice drying ground, depending on what the conditions are, there's that speed freak that goes off in front and they've got to catch it. I think may struggle.
Struggle to catch or to reel him in.
Just purely because, transferring that all weather where it's a little bit more, you have to dig in. There's that give underfoot guaranteed every. So I understand that that's going to be a bit of a, you know, a question mark. I think City of Troy is a worthy favourite, if we're being honest. If you watch his victories, I think, you know, 3 wins,
two over course, so you can't argue with it.
Yeah, and beat a couple of these that are in behind, and by almost 18 lengths over 3 victories. So you can understand why. But it's exactly like you two were alluding to. The Guineas feels like a completely different kettle of fish, doesn't it? Really, what turns up, you know. Will that City of Troy turn up, or will an absolute donkey of a City of Troy turn up? You don't know on the day, do you? You know, so yeah. For me, to be honest with you, I think City of Troy is a worthy favourite. But I do think, I mean, when you look at Notable Speech, and again, we're talking a week in advance, so you know things could change with decks and that. But at 10-1 third favourite, I mean, it's a fantastic start to an each way double, really. So
as I say, you know, you just like I say, just purely going on by the history books, you know what I mean, the record books. You know, again, I wouldn't say you're wrong, because history tells us that the favourites, you know, don't often win if you look back. They really haven't for the last few years, kind of thing. So
no, I think we've done a couple of these over the last couple of years where we have sat there and gone. O'Brien has turned around and said, "This is his horse for the season. He's going to start with this. You know, it's going to win all 3 big ones. It's going to be." And it don't even place. We've been here many times.
Wasn't it Augusta Rodin that didn't?
Augusta Rodin, we sat here last year and we said the exact same thing. That
everybody sort of expected a bit of a hose up job, but it didn't happen. Did it?
I mean, there's a video by Cornwall. I mean, I'll try and share it and see if we can put it on the video. There's a work piece with City of Troy and the work riders explaining how he felt and all that, and you see the actual pace of the horse. He can absolutely, you know, he's spread of like from one, you know, he's gallop, you know, he opens up really big and he looks impressive. It looks really impressive, but I have a look, and he's actually on Twitter land, and Cornwall put the video up.
There's nothing to say that, like say, this year is the year that the favourite does turn up, and you know, and put them to the sword. So there's no reason to say it's not going to happen. Just like you say, just you know, going by the record books, you have to err on the side of caution to say, well, for some reason they're just not quite at that mark, you know, and maybe we'll go on to bigger and better things later on in the season.
I mean, you could see as also after the race, if there's some of the horses go by the wayside, you tend to see the trainers tend to drop them down in trip to a 6 furlongs or 7 furlongs. So you see some of them catches your eye, and they might turn up for the Commonwealth Cup in Ascot, in Royal Ascot. That's where you
I was looking, like say, through the card and flicking about like you do through different websites and that, and I saw some entries on some sort of betting sites that are not even on the others. And when I sort of thinking, you know, then investigating, and like I say, I don't profess to be an expert, but you know, looking at some of them, I was like, oh, that also looks pretty decent. And then you go and look, and they're not. You go and say like Racing Post example, and they've actually got entries in the Derby.
You
know, so you're like, okay, it doesn't look like they're going there then, you know. So interesting to see what happens. It'd be interesting to see if City of Troy bucks a trend and like I said, does turn up, as you say, Sean. You cannot completely understand why installed as favourite. And we'll see, I suppose, Dave. We'll just see what transpires and see if a favourite does turn up this year or not. It hasn't happened, but who's to say it's not going to happen? So
exactly.
Okay, well, we haven't got Mark to obviously ask, so that's sort of fairly short and sweet. We knew the video wouldn't be too long. So let's look at the 1,000 guineas in, lads. Last year, MAWJ, however you pronounce it, somewhat of an outsider again at 9-1, won it for Godolphin, for Saeed bin Sur. Again, they've the Godolphin lads, Sean, as you say, have got some outsiders, if you will. They got Dance Sequence at 6-1 and Cinderella's Dream at 20-1 for Charlie Appleby this time. Karl Burke, as I mentioned, does have a favourite in this, which is Fallen Angel. And then obviously O'Brien's got his hat full again as well with Yang Yang content, buttons, and brilliance. So, Jamie, coming in, you can go again then. So, what takes your fancy is it in this then, mate?
Oh my God, it's the Jamie show. No, it ain't. No, it's not. Anyway, well, there's two. It's the one is the favourite, which is the Fallen Angel, trained by Karl Burke, who trains up in Midland in North Yorkshire. He's been a fantastic filly. You know, he's a sire of Too Darn Hot, who's won top races in his career, like the Sussex Stakes. He was third in the St James's Palace Stakes as well, which is a 1 mile. So he's got he's given a little bit of stamina in her pedigree with Fallen Angel. So I think this course will suit her. They've had a race course gallop. I was it before the Craven meeting, and I think Karl Burke was very happy the way she you know, displayed her talent on there just to get the feel of the course. She hasn't run there before, I don't think. But so I mean, it's going to be a difficult one. You know, it's going to be different. You know, it might be like Good the Firm. She's won on her all weather. She was quite impressive. And the last time she was at the Curragh, last time out beating Vesper. There's an Irish horse by 1.25 lengths. I can't pronounce the second. But then looking at looking at the outside the box, there's a horse called Kitty Rose. It's a trainer with N. Lupini. Now, N. Lupini is an Italian trainer, I do believe. She's moved over. She moved over to Ireland, and she's done quite a good success over it. I backed her when she finished second at Leopardstown on heavy ground, but she went down like fighting, beaten by just by a head by Lure Roller. But she beat Buttons by 2 3/4 lengths, who Buttons is entered in the Guineas. So that'd be interesting. And Kitty Rose is a big price. I think some, I don't know what Unibet is pricing, but I've looked at it, it's like 25-1, so it'd be a good each way. If you can handle the course, that's the most important thing, because it's got, you know, the famous when you pass the bushes, you got the dip, and then you got the quite incline towards the finishing line. So I think she's got a chance. The other horses in the race, you got like you said, you got Buttons with Aiden O'Brien. You got Content, who's a sire of Galileo, won at the Curragh on soft conditions, finished 4th in the Breeders' Cup in the juvenile fillies race on firm ground, finished 4th. And then you got Portia Fortuna, who's trained by Donica O'Brien, the son of Aiden O'Brien. I think she's round about big prices at 16s and things like that. She's won at Newmarket on a 6 furlongs race in the Cheveley Park Group 1. She beat Pearls and Rubies, who I normally select on my tracker. But she was second in the same race as in Content in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile fillies race. So the one I'm definitely going to put on is Falling Angel, because I think Karl Burke deserves it. He's done really well this season. His stable's in good form. But the each way, one to look out for, or the danger in the pack, be Kitty Rose. Now you normally find that the fillies of the 1,000 guineas on Sunday, you get a lot more horses in the field than the colts. So have a shop round if you want to do a bet. So I'm sure there's going to be 5 places or 6 places for the guineas. So the 2 I've gone is Fallen Angel, which is my main selection, but the danger is Kitty Rose.
Okay, what about you then, Sean?
To be honest, not a great deal stood out on my point of view. Again, like I said, I kept alluding to the Godolphin. I have gone dance sequence. Again, a completely different logic to this one. Whereas in the 2000 Guineas, obviously, you know, I've gone with a horse that's obviously got no form at the ground and no turf form whatsoever. I'm kind of going opposite of everything I've said there, and I've gone with Dance Sequence, who has had 3 runs, all 3 at Newmarket. Again, 2 wins and 1 second. Look, I think you're both, because from what you were saying, then I think Fallen Angel is going to be your choice, because you were alluding to the double type.
No, because my double was a Richard Hannon double. But go on, carry on.
Oh, sorry, you did say Hannon double. Sorry, not Burke. That was it. Sorry, Jamie. I do believe you're right. Then with Fallen Angel again, another worthy favourite. But I always, as much as they're worthy favourites, when it comes to backing them, it's always edgy for them to become backable favourites. In these type races, I do think there is a difference between a worthy favourite and then a backable one, especially on the day, and especially in, like Jamie was saying, and Glyn, you've alluded to many times, in these 2 races in particular, it's either the favourites are there or thereabouts, or we're getting a tricast that you wish you'd laid your mortgage on, because because the horses that are running home are in their easy double figures going upwards. Again, Dance Sequence isn't a massive price. Again, 3rd favourite, but at 5 to 1, I just think the form that she's got at the track, I do believe, will pay dividends. Again, O'Brien's not stacked the deck as such. He's not a Willie Mullins where he's got 14 and 15 runners, but he's got enough in there to definitely give himself a chance, isn't he? And Ylang, I think, is second favourite at the moment. That's the first string of O'Brien, isn't it? Again, another one who I'm sure has got great Newmarket form, but look, it's the home of the Godolphins. We know that you know, they like these big prizes and they like to start strong. So yeah, for me, the only one I could really look at was Dance Sequence and hope for the Godolphin double.
Okay, fair. Well, as I say, my other one's a bit more of a wild shot in the dark. As you say, I'm kind of the opposite to what you said, Sean. I went more with form on the last one and less on this one. I've gone for Richard Hannon's relatively unknown Star Style. Quite a big price, 25s. It's only run once, and that was a 7 furlong over at Newbury on the 19th of this month. But won with anything in hand, won by about 5-6 lengths, but really was in no trouble whatsoever. You watched the replay back, it was quite impressive. You know, I mean, of course you ask the question, what was it running against? Were they any good? Do you know what I mean? I haven't had the time really to go back and look at every single horse, but you know, I just thought that again, as you say, it's that early season race. Anything kind of can happen. We've seen it many times before. You know, and the bigger prices do, like I say, do run home well, Sean. And I thought, well, you know, if I put that together with Rosaline, or however you want to pronounce it, you know, in an each way double, that's not a bad price. I think it's about 129, 130 to 1 or something for the double.
Yeah, that does.
So I was certainly not averse to having a couple of quid on that, you know.
I mean, Richard Adams, that as a winner in the 1,000 Guineas with, I think it was Bilsden's Brook. I think it was back 50.
Yeah, that's a big price. A few,
and I was there, race making, and
yes,
you know,
I seem to remember it. I seem to remember that, to be honest.
Yeah, and the place went absolute quiet. You couldn't hear a pin drop, but you could. I mean, you hear like the crowd shouting all for their horses and that. But when a horse went past, and they went, "Who's that?" and they went 50 to 1, and then looking at the big screen, you went, "Oh my God!" And it was like Richard Adams smiling from ear to ear, and then you got Sean Levy like smiling from ear to ear, and it's like, oh my God, I don't know where that came from. So it does.
You know, I'd say that this Star Stage, you know, I mean, it's got a decent bit of pedigree. You know, I mean, it's sired by a horse called Zoo Star, which is an Australian horse that's won 2 Group 1s. You know what I mean, in Australia, and you know, won several stakes races. So you know, it comes from a decent bit of stock. It's again, it's that same old question: is will it turn out to be a good one? Really?
Yes. Will it turn up? Yeah.
On that race at Newbury, which let's be honest was only on the 19th, so it weren't that long ago. Maybe that might have left a little bit of a mark, but you might think by next weekend, you might have thought that maybe that would be enough time to recover. But it did win, very easily. You know what I mean? It was, there was literally, it was winning from a way out, and nothing was catching it. So you think maybe they could have a good one on their hands, but again, we'll see. We will see. It's still very early in the flat season, so we'll just have to wait and see. So I can't offer a hell of a lot of logic behind it, other than, like I say, it won that very well going away, and and has some decent pedigree, in the bloodline. So we'll have to see if I'm right or if I'm wrong.
Hey, Chalden, he's not been doing some studying. He has been doing studying. He's been doing all the pedigrees. He's been doing all the, all the pedigree lines and everything. And
he sounded like he knew what he was doing. I might as well go down fighting.
He sounded like he knew what he was doing. I'm still looking at Punchestown this week, so I'm not giving up on the jumps, to be honest with you, mate. For me, it went over yesterday. I'm going right to the end. Don't worry
about that. It's like the jumps versus the flat. It's like used to versus one, isn't it?
Yeah. I was actually talking to an Irish lady and an Irish chap at the weekend, asking them about have they been to the Dublin Racing Festival and stuff like that, which was quite good fun. So, okay, all right, lads. Well, we'll just say we'll wrap it up there. Then I say, unfortunately, short and sweet, really, because it's the first one really of the season. Want for a better word. No Mark obviously cuts down the time as well, so that's our selections, folks. We could be wrong, we could be right. We'll see if we'll get a big prize winner again. We'll see if we'll get a short prize winner. But it'll be a good weekend, I'm sure, no doubt. And Jamie, you won't be there this year?
No, unfortunately, I'll be away. I won't be doing any race making, so no videos. Thank God.
No inside man.
No inside man. But yeah, just that this year I've been doing it for about race making there for about 8 years, and I thought,
so you definitely been doing it pretty much as long the time I've known you, I think. So
yeah, so I've been doing it for 8, but I think it's time to have a bit of a rest and
have a one off, have a break, no worries.
Yeah, still be doing the Champions Day in October, so that'd be good anyway.
Cool. All right, lads. Well, it's always great to talk to you, as always, as you know. Always good fun. So we'll get off and have a bit of dinner and whatnot, or whatever everybody else wants to do. So that's it then, folks. Like I say, hopefully we're right. Hopefully we pick the winners. But as we all know, racing, you never know till the day. So let's see what happens then.
Indeed.
No worries.
See you later on, folks. Ta-da.
Bye.
Here, guys. Ta-da.